Hello and welcome to our morning edition of Arirang News. We begin with these stories making the headlines at this hour. U.S. President Donald Trump warned that Iran would pay many times over for every American soldier killed, as Washington launched a fresh round of airstrikes against Tehran. Meanwhile, Yemen's Iran-backed Houthis said they will impose a naval blockade on Saudi Arabia, opening a potential new front in the conflict and raising the threat to global energy supplies beyond the Gulf. The UNESCO World Heritage Committee meeting, considered the world's most prestigious gathering on cultural and natural heritage, is currently underway in Busan. Delegates unanimously adopted a declaration that sets the direction for global cooperation in protecting World Heritage sites. The massive fire at a Coupang logistics warehouse in Incheon has been largely contained, more than 60 hours after it first broke out on Friday. Firefighters struggled to put out the blaze due to the building's complex layout and large amounts of flammable materials, but rainfall on Monday helped bring the fire under initial control. We begin this morning with escalating tensions in the Middle East. U.S. President Donald Trump has issued another stark warning to Iran as Washington intensifies its military campaign. Tehran, meanwhile, says it's now in a full-scale war with the United States. Our Kim Bo-kyung starts us off.
U.S. President Donald Trump issued a strong warning to Iran, saying it would pay many times over every time Iran kills an American soldier. The remarks came in a post on Truth Social on Monday, where he said the directive has been passed to the Pentagon and top military commanders. This comes after several U.S. service members were killed in action. Two stationed in Jordan were killed in an Iranian missile and drone attack on July 17th, and another soldier was killed in Iraq the following day while attempting to destroy an unexploded Iranian drone. The warning comes as the U.S. military launched a new round of airstrikes against Iran on the same day, marking the 10th consecutive night of U.S. airstrikes targeting Iran. U.S. Central Command, which oversees military operations in the Middle East, said on its X account that the new strikes began at 4 p.m. Eastern Time under the direct orders of Trump. The command said the operation was intended to further degrade Iran's military capabilities used to attack commercial vessels in the Strait of Hormuz. Meanwhile, Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian has described the country's recent military confrontation with the U.S. as a full-scale war, according to Iranian state media on Monday. Such remarks came from a meeting of the Supreme Judicial Council in Tehran, where the president said that Iran is fighting a war that is not fought solely with missiles. He added that Iran's enemies have concluded that military strikes alone cannot force the Iranian people to surrender, and that Tehran will continue to fight to defend its national interests until the very end. Kim Bo-kyung, Arirang News.
And the conflict in Yemen is threatening to spill beyond its borders as Iran-backed Houthi rebels announced an immediate naval blockade against Saudi Arabia, ending years of relative calm. The move raises fresh concerns over regional security and the safety of vital global shipping routes that carry oil, food, and other goods between Asia, Europe, and the rest of the world. Our Lee Seung-jae reports.
Yemen's Iran-backed Houthi rebels have announced an immediate naval blockade against Saudi Arabia, marking a major escalation in tensions after the collapse of a 4-year truce. In a televised statement Monday, the Houthis declared what they called a maritime embargo against Saudi Arabia, saying the move was retaliation for what they described as the kingdom's nearly 12-year blockade of Yemen's ports and airports, as well as the exploitation of the country's resources.
The Yemeni armed forces announced a maritime embargo against the criminal Saudi enemy based on the equation of a blockade for a blockade, and it will enter into force effective immediately upon the issuance of this statement.
The announcement follows a sharp rise in hostilities last week. The Houthis fired missiles at Saudi Arabia after accusing the kingdom of carrying out an airstrike on an airport under their control. Saudi Arabia has not publicly accepted responsibility. The missile attacks were the first claimed by the Houthis against Saudi Arabia since an informal ceasefire took effect in March 2022. The truce had largely held despite Yemen's long-running civil war between the Iran-backed Houthis and the Saudi-backed internationally recognized government. Analysts warn the renewed conflict could have consequences well beyond the region. They say any disruption to shipping routes could affect not only oil and natural gas, but also container cargo, food, fertilizer, coal, and other goods moving between Asia, Europe, and the rest of the world.
Everything can be affected because not only oil or natural gas is shipped through this strait. Other cargoes from Asia, such as containers, food as well, fertilizers, coal, and everything else that can be loaded onto the ship and shipped or sailed to the Europe or other part of the world that needs to pass this strait, it might be affected.
The Houthis have been fighting Yemen's internationally recognized government for more than a decade, and the latest developments raise fresh concerns that the conflict could once again threaten regional security and global trade. 이승재, Arirang News.
Here in South Korea, the world's leading decision-making body on cultural and natural heritage began formal deliberations in Busan this week, where delegates unanimously adopted the Busan Declaration, aimed at strengthening global cooperation in protecting World Heritage sites. Our culture correspondent Jung Il-im was there.
The UNESCO World Heritage Committee adopted the Busan Declaration on Monday, a South Korea-led initiative calling for stronger international cooperation to protect World Heritage sites. The declaration proposes adding collaboration as the sixth strategic objective of the World Heritage Convention.
In the face of today's global crisis, solidarity within the international community remains the only solution. I hope this committee will serve as a turning point in reinvigorating cooperation under the World Heritage Convention.
The Busan Declaration is the committee's first formal declaration setting out the strategic direction for World Heritage protection since this 44th session, which was held in China in 2021. It also emphasizes inclusive interpretation of heritage values and shared responsibility for World Heritage management while addressing challenges including armed conflict, climate change, development pressures, and rapid technological change.
Yet, acknowledging that the troubling reality that we are faced here, World Heritage properties and other sites of cultural significance continue to suffer from consequences of armed conflict around the world and also of climate change.
Korean culture is also being showcased beyond the conference hall through the K Heritage House from Monday to July 29th, where visitors can explore dozens of exhibitions, performances, and interactive experiences highlighting Korea's cultural and natural heritage. The first plenary sessions saw delegates adopting the committee's agenda and timetable before beginning discussions on reports from the World Heritage Center and its advisory bodies. The afternoon session focused on ways to strengthen heritage protection in Africa and small island developing states. The committee will spend the coming days reviewing the conservation status of existing World Heritage sites before turning to new inscriptions and modifications, including South Korea's proposal to expand the Kepal, Korean Tidal Flats World Heritage Site. Jung Il-im, Arirang News, Busan.
And now for more on the UNESCO World Heritage Committee meeting in Busan, we're joined today by Lee Gil-bae, Director General of the Heritage Policy Bureau at Korea Heritage Service. So South Korea is hosting this meeting for the first time. What does it mean for the country standing in the global heritage community? And what has South Korea focused on most in preparing to host this meeting?
Good morning and good evening, everyone. Hosting the committee for the first time in 38 years since joining the World Heritage Convention signifies Korea's rise as a rule maker in global heritage conservation. In preparation, we focus heavily on promoting international collaboration to protect World Heritage from climate change and conflict, while also actively showcasing the cultural excellence of K-Heritage through dedicated exhibitions in Korea K-Heritage House in Mexico.
Right, and I understand a lot of attention is on the Saro mine. The World Heritage Committee recently urged Japan to fully reflect the whole history of the site, including the issue of Korean forced labor during World War II. How has the Korean government been working on this issue, and how will this be discussed during the meeting in Busan?
The government of the Republic of Korea has consistently maintained the position that it is important for Japan to faithfully implement the commitment it made to the international community at the time of the inscription of the World Heritage property. In particular, the government of the Republic of Korea has continuously emphasized that the full history of the property should be fully reflected and that appropriate measures should be taken to honor the victims. At the present session, this matter will be discussed in accordance with the procedures of the World Heritage Committee and its relevant decisions. The government will respond by taking into comprehensive consideration the overall progress and development of discussions on this matter within the framework of the World Heritage Committee. The Korea Heritage Service of the Republic of Korea will continue to respond by maintaining a consistent and responsible position in close cooperation with relevant ministries, including MOPA, and in accordance with the World Heritage Convention, the decisions of the World Heritage Committee, and the operational guidelines.
Right, and a lot of attention is also on the debate over redevelopment near Chongmyo Shrine. Some experts say it could put South Korea's management of its World Heritage sites under the international spotlight. Do you expect it to come up during the committee meeting?
Regarding the heritage impact assessment related to the redevelopment near Chongmyo Shrine, the government of the Republic of Korea issued an implementation order in May. Based on the World Heritage Act and following the recommendations of the UNESCO Heritage Center. However, as the head of Jongno-gu office, Jongno-gu's district office violated order and proceeded with the approval of the project, the government is currently preparing a strong legal action at the national level. At the same time, the government has maintained channels for dialogue and consultation to enable the Seoul Metropolitan City government and local residents to accept the HIA. The Republic of Korea government has also shared the current situation with the UNESCO World Heritage Center and has repeatedly conveyed its commitment to achieving an amicable resolution. Accordingly, Chongmyo Shrine has not been placed on the conservation agenda of the committee at this session. The government will continue its effort to ensure the acceptance and implementation of the heritage impact assessment.
Right, and before I let you go, could hosting this committee meeting also become a chance to promote Busan's history as Korea's wartime capital?
Yeah, Busan is not only the host city of the World Heritage Committee, but also holds great historical significance as a provisional capital and defended democracy and freedom during the Korean War. This session will provide a valuable opportunity to introduce Busan's history and cultural heritage to representatives from around the world. Furthermore, hosting the World Heritage Committee session itself is expected to enhance Busan's international standing and serve as an opportunity to generate positive interest in future efforts to pursue World Heritage inscription. Thank you.
Right, I see. All right, thank you so much for coming on today. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
The massive fire at a Coupang logistics warehouse in Incheon has been brought under initial control more than 61 hours after it first broke out. Fire authorities declared the blaze under control at 8 p.m. Monday after deploying more than 800 firefighters and over 230 pieces of equipment under a nationwide emergency response. The warehouse complex structure and large amounts of flammable materials hampered firefighting efforts, but rain on Monday helped crews gain the upper hand. No casualties have been reported. More than 120 workers have evacuated safely, while over 200 nearby residents have taken shelter at local schools over concerns the building could collapse. Korean science fiction film Hope by director Da Hong-jin has surpassed the 2 million mission mark just 5 days after its release, making it the fastest film to reach that box office milestone this year. Now that's according to the Korean Film Council on Monday. Hope starring Hwang Jang-min, Cho In-sung, and Jung Woo-yeon opened in Korea on July 15th. The film is set in the fictional village of Hopo Port near the demilitarized zone, which sees the sudden arrival of mysterious extraterrestrial creatures. It premiered at the 79th Cannes Film Festival earlier this year. The previous record for the fastest film to reach 2 million views this year was Yeon Sang-ho's The Colony. Until now, treating depression has largely relied on medication or stimulating nerve cells in the brain. The South Korean researchers have developed a new technology that could help treat depression through a contact lens. Our Kim Sa-young explains more.
It looks like an ordinary contact lens, but a closer look shows a tiny antenna and micro-sized electrodes inside. Both are made with highly flexible materials, so they do not block or interfere with vision. This is a depression treatment lens developed by Korean researchers. Two high-frequency currents from the lens meet inside the eye and turn into a low-frequency current at the retina. This low-frequency current then sends an electrical signal through the optic nerve network, stimulating the hippocampus and prefrontal cortex, key brain areas targeted in depression treatment.
These electrical signals are safe for the eyes. They stimulate only the retina, and we believe they do not cause any pain.
Researchers had mouse with depression wear the lens for 30 minutes a day for 3 weeks and found that their depressive symptoms disappeared and their activity levels recovered. Synapses in the brain's neural network, which had weakened due to depression, became stronger again. Levels of brain nerve growth factor increased, while inflammation levels went down. The effect was similar to that of depression medication.
Machine learning showed that the treated mice were no longer close to the depression group. Instead, their patterns were much closer to those of normal mice.
Researchers say the results are promising, and they plan to begin clinical research within 3 years. Kim So-young, Arirang News.
Good morning, I'm Chu Ji-hyun, and this is The World Now. In the U.S., President Trump has placed 50% tariffs on a wide range of Canadian products, citing Canada's, quote, unequal treatment of American cars, alcohol, and dairy. Trump used Section 338 of the 1930 Tariff Act, which allows tariffs of up to 50% on imports from specific countries. The new tariffs cover items including wine, hockey sticks, cement, dairy products, swimming pools, furniture, fishing rods, and wigs, and takes effect on August 19th. The White House pointed to Canada's dairy system and provincial bans on U.S. alcohol sales as justification for the tariffs. In New York, authorities have arrested a man after he started a fire and ignited fireworks outside an Immigration and Customs Enforcement office. Officials said the suspect was a U.S. Army veteran who served from 2001 to 2005. He was allegedly carrying anti-ICE literature and poured gasoline on the stairs of 26 Federal Plaza in Lower Manhattan on Monday morning, set it on fire, and ignited fireworks. The building also contains an FBI field office. A Federal Protective Service officer who detained the suspect sustained minor injuries, and 2 other people were also lightly hurt. FBI officials described the suspect as, quote, an anti-American, anti-government extremist. In the U.S., the Food and Drug Administration says an initial positive test on lettuce linked to a nationwide cyclosporiasis outbreak turned out to be a false positive. But the agency says its conclusion about the source of the outbreak hasn't changed. The FDA had tested Taylor Farms lettuce at the U.S.-Mexico border and found it tested positive for the cyclospora parasite. But quality control checks later showed that result was a false positive. Even so, the agency says its traceback investigation and outbreak data still point to shredded iceberg lettuce from Taylor Farms locations in central Mexico, which was also served at some Taco Bell locations. More than 1,600 people across over 30 states have been sick due to the outbreak. Taylor Farms is continuing a voluntary recall. Officials say cyclospora is unusually hard to trace because of its long incubation period and because the parasite can't be cultured or genetically sequenced in labs. English football legend Kevin Keegan has died at the age of 75. His family revealed in June that he had stage 4 cancer. Keegan was the only British footballer to win the Ballon d'Or twice. He starred for Liverpool, where he won 3 league titles and the European Cup before moving to Hamburg for a British transfer record fee. Keegan also captained England 31 times and later managed Newcastle United and the England national team.
It looks to be another day with heavy rain in central Korea and strong heat in the southern parts of Korea. And through this morning, the heaviest rain will fall on the central regions, where 30 to 50 millimeters per hour are possible. So up to 100 millimeters of rain is expected across the capital area and Gangwon-do province, while Chungcheongdo and Gyeongsang-do provinces could see up to 60 millimeters. Meanwhile, Gyeongsang-Namdo province will have a rain-free day, but heat wave alerts will remain in place. Meanwhile, Jeju City and Seogwipo have now experienced 14 consecutive tropical nights, while heat alerts have been expanded to more southern regions. And this afternoon, Daegu will be getting up to 34 degrees Celsius. Gyeongju will be hotter at 35 degrees. Busan, Gwangju will make it to 32 degrees, while Seoul will be topping out at 28 degrees Celsius this afternoon. The stationary front will continue moving north and south this week, so please stay alert for additional heavy rain and possible flooding.
That's all we have for this morning. Arirang News will be back at noon Korea time. Thanks for watching.
어렸을 때부터 어머니가 미술학원을 운영을 하셨어요. 그래서 거기 가서 놀고 하다 보니까 자연스럽게 미술을 접하게 됐고 저는 그리고 만드는 것 중에 만드는 게 더 재밌었어요. 그래서 이제 도예과 입학해서 다양한 재료들을 경험을 해봤지만 그 중에서도 물레성형 기법에 굉장히 매료가 됐고 이 기법을 평생 하면서 하면 행복하겠다는 생각이 들어서 도자기를 계속 하게 되었습니다. 작업하시는 분들은 다들 공감을 하시겠지만 사실 정답이 없잖아요. 그래서 항상 불안하고 제가 제대로 된 길을 가고 있는지에 대한 이런 마음이 엄청 큰데 프란치라는 좀 어떻게 보면 저한테는 되게 큰 상이었거든요. 제가 잘하고 있다고 도닥여주고 제대로 길을 가고 있다고 확신을 주는 것 같아서 저한테는 되게 의미 있는 지금까지 작업을 할 수 있는 원동력이기도 되고요. 저는 옛날에 기 형태들을 많이 참고하는 편인 것 같고요. 엄청나게 섬세한 기법들을 통해서 장식이 되어 있거든요. 저는 그런 장식들을 일부분씩 뜯어와서 그걸 제만의 방식대로 입체화시킵니다. 원래는 기라는 형태 자체가 실제로 사용하기 위해서 만들어졌잖아요. 그 공간을 저는 어떻게 하면 더 흥미롭게 보여줄 수 있을까? 그래서 제가 집중했던 부분이 창인데요. 건축에서도 창을 내부와 외부를 잇는 통로? 매개체라고 많이들 이야기를 하잖아요. 저는 그 부분에서 영감을 받아서 그 창의 의미를 형태에 접목시키게 되었습니다. 그래서 요즘에는 이제 설치 작업도 많이 하는 것 같아요. 보통은 컵 같은 경우는 최종 완성까지 한 3주에서 4주 정도 소요가 되고요. 큰 작업 같은 경우는 한 3달까지도 걸리는 작업들도 있는 것 같아요. 저 같은 경우는 창같이 복잡한 패턴들을 함께 구성을 하다 보니까 정말 많이 갈라져요. 그래서 재벌 가마에 들어가 있을 때가 가장 긴장되는 순간인 것 같습니다. 사실 공간이라는 것이 볼 수도 없고 만질 수도 없는 어떠한 모형의 어떤 것이잖아요. 그거를 이제 빛이나 그림자나 무형의 어떤 요소들을 활용해서 같이 공감할 수 있는 작업을 하고 싶습니다.
주파수를 훔쳐봐도 오랫동안 날리고 밤을 어디를지 물을 훔치는 저기 언덕을 가도 멀찍이 태양은 언제나
We're here to bring a new type of news show.
New insights, new styles, new topics every day.
We are News Generation.
Great news just for you. It's Tuesday, July 21st here in Seoul. I'm Isujin, and this is News Generation. Joining us today is Puyong.
Hello, happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday. Also, Cheska's with us.
Tuesday, everyone.
Happy Tuesday. And both are here to speak on behalf of people in their 20s and 30s. So we're on day 2 of the work week, and whether it's been smooth sailing or a bit of a struggle, we've got the perfect topic to lighten the mood. Today, we're taking a trip down memory lane first with some of the questions we all heard growing up and finding out what our answers say about us now. And speaking of childhood, let's start with an age-old question almost everyone has been asked at least once. Who'd you like better, your mom or your dad? And as a child, did you enjoy hanging out more with your mom or your dad?
I hate that question.
I could already see it from your face.
Yes, right? I'm an only child and I have,
okay.
Yes. I struggle when I have to answer those questions. But anyways, my mom's tuning it right now. And I'm pretty sure my dad's not. So I think we know the answer, right? But still, jokes aside, I think it really depended on the activity that I did with my parents. So I was a very active child. So I loved hanging out with my dad because I could, play catch, run around, just go hiking. But at the same time, as I said, I'm an only child. So I had the privilege of being able to hug my mom all the time. Yeah, so naturally we spent a whole lot of time together. And I really loved, talking with my mom because I felt like she knew me better than I knew myself. And our conversations were always so interesting. But yeah, all in all, I loved both. I love hanging out with both. Yes.
Because your mom's watching?
Yes.
Hi, Mom. So actually, I'm also only child, and I can really relate to having your parents' attention. As a kid, I was like, I wish I had a sibling. But now that I'm older, now I'm actually kind of reveling in the fact that I have all my parents' attention. So I do relate to this. So Cheska, what about you? I know you're the complete opposite of both of us.
Yes. So let me tell you the reality of what it's like to have 2 younger siblings. Jokes aside, but Puyong is kind of like my desired mom-daughter relationship when I was growing up because I had 2 younger siblings. So there's 3 of us. So mama's attention has to be divided. And as the eldest, I sort of have to take that responsibility of taking care of younger siblings. So our family is very interesting, and I'm glad we're both on the talk show today because our family is incredibly independent. We all live separately. We all became independent as soon as we became adults. And even with my mom, not only because she lives in the States, all of our families see each other maybe twice a year annually. Yeah, it's a very important family gathering, but we live separately. We kind of take care of our lives separately, but there is definitely that family connection that is still there.
I think my mom would want to raise me as you.
It's a very desired, child.
Because she has an independent child. Right, she's an independent child, as you should be as an adult. So it really shows how family dynamics can differ depending on the culture and how you were raised. So we're going to talk more about this, but first, let's take a look at the screen. One of the most awkward questions you can ask a child is, who do you like more, your mom or your dad? But in Korea today, a new trend has emerged where being exceptionally close to your mom isn't just accepted, it's considered something to be proud of. For many young women in Korea, their moms have become their closest companions, with some even joking that it's replaced dating. So today on News Generation, we explore what it exactly means to be a mama's girl in Korea, new slang surrounding this trend, and why it's moms that are at the center of it all. Just as we saw in a video, the relationship between mothers and daughters seems to be taking on a whole new meaning among young Koreans. So rather than being seen as overly dependent, it's increasingly almost becoming a badge of honor to have that close relationship with your mother. But how has the image of the mama's girl changed in recent years, Cheska?
So interestingly enough, I think all of us could agree, in the past, if you call somebody, oh, you're such a mama's boy or you're a mama's girl, it often carried sort of a negative image and connotation. But interesting enough, there has been a new term or new trend that is coming in, and so a new term that labels people who love their mom and is obsessed with their mom, and it's called 엄미세. And in Korean, Fuyong is definitely one of them. And it means someone who loves their mom so much and obsessed with them that you hang out with them almost like a best friend, like a bestie. And it's so popular nowadays that there's a hashtag on social media that I looked up, and you post videos and vlogs of going on dates with mom, going to trendy places, brunches, dining with moms. And one of the funniest thing I saw, and Puyong actually told me, so I looked it up, on the Instagram, there was another hashtag, and it's called Freeze Your Mom.
Oh my gosh, that sounds intense.
Yeah,
what is
very
this?
intense, but it's like an intense love, like 동결 건조, 엄마, 아빠, you told me, So it's like, and there wasn't actually a hashtag which said, I love my mom so much that I wish she could stay with me forever.
Oh, I get that sentiment.
Yeah. So as we can see from these kind of virals, it is very clear that in the past, what it became as a negative image is now becoming a special new label, which is cute and also entertaining.
I think a lot of people who, especially those who are close to their parents, might actually seriously consider, for example, like not getting married if they have the guarantee of having their parents with them forever.
Right, and I think the hashtag Freeze Your Mom is kind of that line. I want to live with my mom forever. I don't want to marry anybody else, so can I please have her stay with me?
Right, that's quite interesting. So it is interesting how something that once carried a negative stereotype has been completely rebranded and has evolved so much. And instead of hiding how close they are to their moms, many young women are now putting that relationship front and center on social media. And it's not just about spending more time together. The kind of time they're spending together has also changed as well. So what makes these mother-daughter social media posts stand out, Cleo?
Well, if you think about it, in the past, when people uploaded posts featuring their parents, it was mostly about, showing others that they're fulfilling their filial duties. Like, sending your parents on vacation, buying them a car, buying them a luxury bag, or just spending, good quality family time.
Like on a special holiday.
Yes. But these days, I think it's more about going on dates with your moms.
Actually having fun.
Yes, having fun, just like you would hang out with your friends or your partner. And I think that is a very big part. So for instance, you go to Seongsu, the trendiest place in Seoul, and, check out a cool pop-up store. Or you go to an art museum for an exhibition you wanted to check out, or have a cup of coffee or a glass of wine at a cozy cafe. And remember, you're doing all of this with your mom. And
it may sound like a date, but it's with your mom.
It's with your mom. And then you share this online on social media. So it has officially become a trend with the word 엄미세 becoming a new meme.
And I think it's beautiful. It's so interesting that it's actually being celebrated, the way relationships are. So I think that's quite interesting. So rather than simply spending time together out of family obligation, many mothers and daughters are choosing to enjoy the same hobbies, the same trends and experiences, much like close friends would. And that naturally raises the question, why is this trend resonating with so many young people today? And to find out, we'll be speaking with a self-proclaimed mom-crazy mama's girl as well. So that conversation is coming out right after break, so stay with us.
NewsGen wants to hear from you. Go to YouTube and search out channel Arirang News. Click Posts and cast your vote in the poll. Make a new type of news with us.
We're joined now by Tae, who considers her mom to be her best friend and also proudly embraces the title of being a mama's girl. So hello, Tae. Thank you so much for connecting with us today.
Hi. Nice to meet you.
Good to have you on. So, Tae, what makes you a mama's girl, someone who's mom crazy, and what qualities do you think define one?
First, thanks for having me. For me, being a mama girl means having a relationship built on trust, friendship, and open communication. My mom isn't just my parent, she's also my best friend and the first person I want to share everything with. So some people think being a mama's girl means you're dependent, but I actually think it shows strengths. So that's why I believe there are 3 qualities that define a true mama's girl. First is open communication. You learn to express your feelings honestly and ask for advice without feeling embarrassed. And second is respect. Growing up with a close relationship teaches you to value your mom's experience and wisdom. And finally, confidence. So knowing someone who always supports you gives you the courage to become more independent. So to me, being a mama's girl isn't about the dependence. It's about having a loving foundation that helps you grow into the person you are.
Wow, very well put. I'm a little touched.
I was actually getting emotional.
Yeah, right? Okay, then how have attitudes toward daughters who are close to their moms changed? And how have people reacted to your close relationship with your mom?
That's a really interesting question. So in the past, people often thought that being very close to your mom meant that you weren't independent. If you relied on your mom too much, people might call you dependent. But nowadays, I think that attitude has really changed a lot. So more people value emotional health and open communication. They realize that you can be close to your family while still being independent too. So in my experience, most people react very positively to my relationship with my mom. So I go concert with my mom too and drink a morning coffee every Saturday morning.
Wow.
So my friend admires how close we are, and many of them wish they had that kind of relationship with their parents too. So sometimes people are surprised at first, but once they see that I make my own decision and live independently, they understand that my mom simply supports me. She doesn't make choices for me.
You gave such beautiful answer. I think all of us got slightly emotional just hearing that. And I will definitely be one of those people who envy that I had that kind of relationship with my mom. So lastly, it's a very important question. Why is your mom your favorite person? Maybe in terms of the values that she gave or things that she taught you?
Honestly, that's a really easy question for me. So my mom is my favorite person to spend time with because I can completely be myself around her. In most areas of life, we put on a bit of a mask to try to present our best selves. But with my mom, there's a zero pressure. I don't have to pretend or explain myself or try to impress her. We also share the same sense of humor, so we laugh together all the time. And no matter what we're doing, whether we're traveling or going grocery shopping, she always make it more enjoyable. So spending time with her feels comfortable, fun, and relaxing. So to me, she's not only my mom, but also my best friend and biggest supporter. So I think that's why she'll always be my favorite person to hang out with.
That is like the sweetest thing ever, and I'm sure that your mom will be watching this. So then, before I let you go, one more question. What is your favorite thing about your mom? What do you love most about her?
My favorite thing that I love my mom is, actually I thought it before, but the best thing is that she's my biggest supporter. So that means, and we can make time together, so we can go on shopping or go in concert or drink coffee every time I want, because she's always in my home. So that's the biggest thing I love. I have my best friend near with me.
I know you're lucky to have a great mom, but I feel like your mom is also really lucky to have a daughter who thinks so highly of her. So
really?
So yeah, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your relationship and your stories with your mom today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we just heard how being a mama's girl has really evolved from a negative stereotype into something that many young women now proudly embrace and also strive for, and why spending time with their moms has become such a meaningful part of everyday life. And as the trend has grown, people have even come up with a checklist to see just how mom crazy or how much of a omise, which is a slang in Korean, someone who's crazy about their mom, you are. So the more of these apply to you, the higher your mom score, your mom crazy score is. So if 0 to 1 applies to you, it means you're fairly independent. 2 out of 3 of those suggest you have a friendship-like bond with your mom. And if all 4 apply, congratulations, you're officially mom crazy. So we're going to talk about how many of these mom crazy traits describe you. So we're looking at the traits that are on screen right now. So first one, so our panelists have their yes or no paddles with them. So the first one is, when I find a cute cafe or great food, I think of my mom first? Yes or no?
Oh my God.
So Cheska and Buyong, yes or no for you guys?
Yes!
A no for you,
That's
Cheska.
no for me.
Yes for Buyong. So who do you think of first then, Cheska?
I usually don't think of anyone, to be honest.
Yourself and how much you might enjoy this,
but
maybe?
perhaps, or like if the cafe reminds a particular episode or something, I might say, oh, I remember Sujin would really like this, or like Buyong talked about this the other.
So whoever's like directly relevant
related to it.
All right, I see.
I'm feeling I'm gonna fail this miserably.
The next one is, I tell my mom everything from my day to my friends and dating life. So yes or no?
I mean,
no. For
you
me
actually
as well,
don't?
I don't.
We need to hear this. I'm so curious.
Well, I'm more of a listener, so my mom would tell me these things, but I don't really go up to her and tell everything that happened in my day. Yeah, I don't know why, but I'm just, better at listening, I would say.
So you do talk to her every day?
I do, yes.
So you listen to her, I guess, her everyday life, her friends.
Yes.
I see.
I don't know what we talk about.
I know, I was
though.
just about to say the same thing.
You're also a great daughter then. Yeah.
Such a great listener.
The third one is, I get emotional whenever I see a touching mom-related scene on TV. Yes or no? I think this would be a yes for everyone.
I would say no.
But I would say Cheska, you're pretty empathetic person.
I know.
So,
Mom is just one other category.
One other category.
Over, yeah.
The last one is, I'd rather spend time with my mom than go out with my friends. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Sorry, we're not watching.
So, I guess four. How many of these apply to you? I think
3 out of 4. Yes.
So I guess you would be a bit mom crazy.
One short mom crazy.
Cheska?
I got one.
So, I mean, this means you are independent.
I'm very independent. I love my mom.
Right. So these are, I mean, honestly, both things too. I feel like to celebrate in this. So beyond the fun labels and online memes, there is a bigger question then behind this trend. So why are more young people, other than you, I guess, like me and Buyong, becoming more mom crazy, I guess?
Yeah, so interesting enough, I think many young people actually turn to their moms or their parents because of relationship fatigue. And it's very common among young people because they're being exhausted trying to form a relationship or expand their social circles. So they turn to someone, as our interviewer said, someone they can trust and support them unconditionally. Actually, in fact, in a recent survey by Korea Research found that overwhelming 94% of respondents between age 18 to 29 said they prefer having a few deep relationships rather than large social networks. 94? That's almost 100. That's almost everyone. Yeah, that's almost a lot of people. But there's another interesting survey as well. Just last year, a survey by PMI found that more than 70% of unmarried adult aged between 20 to 49 were not currently in a romantic relationship.
Wow, 70?
That's a big number.
It is.
But I kind of relate to, I don't know if it's like that I prefer or rather I have a choice of this, but I do have a very small group of friends, which is why I feel like I do then naturally end up hanging out with my mom more as well.
Right.
So as many young people prioritize fewer but deeper relationships, it's perhaps no surprise that they're investing more time in the people who genuinely know them best, know them from birth. But that still doesn't explain one thing. So there's another thing that I'm quite curious about. Why not dads or other family members? So why not Abby? As someone who is an only child, has been asked that question of deeper mom and dad. Why do you think this trend centers on moms in particular?
Well, first of all, love you too, Dad. But Korea is a society built on Confucian values, right? And Confucianism traditionally emphasized men being the breadwinners while women stayed home and took care of their children and family. And that naturally meant women or moms had to make sacrifices, right? Giving up their careers and friendships, becoming the stay-at-home mother, and making sure that their family's, good. Their well-being is okay, like both mentally and physically. And I personally think Korea's education fever also played a big role.
Very much so,
Yes, in order to be the quote-unquote good mom, many moms would register their children to hagwon, cram schools, and be their driver, like free shuttle service, right? So these unconditional sacrifices are a big part of, why Korean sons and daughters have such a soft spot for their moms.
And that's more time spent with their kid when they're, like you said, taking them to different places. But this also makes me wonder because I feel like the trend has kind of shifted where now dads are more involved. So I wonder if we see maybe dad crazy movement in the future.
Maybe in the future, yes.
Right. So I mean, this is a trend that we talked about in Korea and how Korea's family dynamics has shaped these relationships, and years of care and emotional support can naturally create an especially strong bond between mothers and their children. But of course, like any social trend, not everyone always sees this in a positive light. So then how is a mom crazy trend, do you think, viewed in other countries that obviously have different cultures, Jessica?
So when I first got the topic, it was very interesting for me because I grew up exactly half of my life in Korea and half of my life in the Western world. So I think this can be seen from a multiple angle depending on the culture, because some critics actually do argue, especially from a Western perspective, that being too involved, in a relationship with mom or parents can deter someone from becoming independent. Because one of the reasons that we go out and form new relationship is so that we try to form understanding and empathy by trying to mingle and understand people who are vastly different from us. But if we limit our social circle and social interaction with people, especially family, that already knew us from the beginning, and we don't have to put in too much effort to make them understand us or to understand them, that might actually, limit the kind of social capacity that we can build. So that is one angle. However, there are countries, in Asian cultures, and especially like Southern Europe, like Italy, Mamma mia. They very much value family cohesion. So in the Western culture, there's more emphasis on independence, but I don't think independence necessarily mean it's not close. It's just they see parents more as a companion and a friend they respect, and perhaps a life mentor that they kind of turn to when things get tough.
So this kind of makes me wonder, to end on a more personal note, Jessica, for you then, what is a healthy, ideal relationship with your parents or your mom?
Wow, to me personally, that is probably one of the hardest questions I've gotten on News Generation, really, because I think family dynamic, and some of our viewers may agree, is I think the hardest task that you have to figure out to find out what is a healthy family relationship. Because when you're too close, you get too angry and too irritated. When you're too far, obviously you miss them too much. So I think there's a difference between closeness and respect and independence. And I'm trying to learn the right balance, because as our interviewer mentioned so beautifully, just because you're ommise does not necessarily mean it doesn't qualify the conditions that she talked about, being confident, being independent, and being respectful. So I think a healthy relationship is any type of distance that is able to meet those criteria.
I think, like you said, finding the right balance is so important, but it's not always easy to actually execute.
So not easy.
I like what you said, and I like what you said earlier about how life does feel comfortable and so easy to always spend time with, for example, your mom. But you realize as you meet a broader group of circle of friends, they bring different perspectives, and you learn different things, and you find out more about yourself too. And sometimes being uncomfortable is an area of growth as well.
Like you have to learn how to handle struggles. You have to learn how to, understand differences. You have to learn how to, cope with stress from other people.
Finding that right balance is ideal, but not always easy. So what are your thoughts on this?
Well, I resonate with what Jessica said as I get older, especially because, when I was younger, I would just, play with my mom all the time, just stay with her, and I would be okay. But as I grew older, I think it is really important to find that balance that you mentioned. But at the same time, I do think, more and more people becoming mom crazy is a good phenomenon, all in all, because it not only gives you a chance to hang out with your mom and spend, quality time, but it also gives your mom a chance to get a little younger, right? And enjoy all the things they may have not had the chance to experience because they had to sacrifice themselves so much. So from that perspective, I think it is a good phenomenon. But at the same time, I do think you need to strike a good balance between depending too much on your mom and maintaining a best friend-like relationship. Because in the end, I think the healthiest version is being close enough to be best friends, but at the same time, independent enough to stand on your own.
Right, very well put. So the mom crazy trend may sound unusual at first, but it reflects broader changes in how young people build meaningful relationships. For many, family has become a source of comfort, companionship, and stability. Ultimately, what's most important is that those relationships remain healthy and mutually supportive. And that brings us to the end of today's episode of News Generation. But News Gen will be back tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. bringing Korea Time with more stories and discussions. A big thanks to Puyong.
Thank you.
And also Cheska.
Pleasure's all be mine. Thank you.
And to our viewers, thank you so much for watching. And if you're mom crazy like me, you're probably going to soon hear your mom's review of today's show. We are News Generation.
Highlighting Korea's position